Hello, everybody. Welcome on to the furry sign language lesson presented by Helping Hands. So today we are here from Helping Hands, which is a sign language VR community. We're going to have a presentation for you guys where the first half is we're going to do a quick little mini version of our freshman orientation that we do for new students. And then the second half will be an actual ASL and BSL lesson of some very basic beginner vocabulary that would be useful to know here if you run into anybody who uses sign language here at Furry Somna. So, to start us off, we're going to have quick little introductions. I'll introduce myself first. I'm Shade Axis. Got some information on the screen, but the important thing to know is I am a IRL certified interpreter. I've been working as an interpreter for about 10 years now. I got involved in VR about 5 years ago, found the Helping Hands community, and it has changed my life. I've been involved with them, helping both to interpret for them and then now also to help run the community. We have some members of Helping Hands with us here today as well, helping us do the presentation. Zaid. So this is Zaid saying, hi everybody, my name's Zaid. I was born deaf. I use both JSL and ASL, Japanese Sign Language and American Sign Language, because I'm fluent in both of them. I got involved in Helping Hands and started learning about the uses of VR technology and using it with the index and facial tracking and really enjoy that tech.
Hello, my name is Avi, and I'm from United Kingdom in Scotland. So I was teaching a volunteer teaching for BSL in the Helping Hand for a long time, near 5 years now. So I'm very happy to see you all here today.
Hello, my name is Borksal. I am in the US. I use Quest 3. I am currently in schooling for American Sign Language interpreting. I discovered Helping Hands a couple years ago after I met a random person who started signing to me. I had no idea what they were saying to me. And they showed me the Helping Hands world, and I've been learning sign language ever since.
All right, and this is Merk saying, hi, hello, my name's Merk. Nice to meet you all. I joined the Helping Hands Discord about 3 years ago. I'm hearing, I'm a student learner, and I've become a community guide now working for Helping Hands. I use Quest. I use Quest for my VR. Nice to meet you all. All right, and this is Zaz saying, hello, everyone. My name's Zaz. I'm a BSL student from the UK. I'm hearing. I've been here for a long time. That's it. All right. Hello, everybody. All right. And we also have an interpreter with us today. We have Polly Swift over here interpreting for us. So they'll be interpreting and providing ASL interpreting during the program. So we have a quick little banner that we just wanted to show off. This has our information on it. Up at the top right has our Discord link, discord.gg/helpinghands. And then down at the bottom, we have our VRC group code link, whatever it's called. So if you guys are interested in learning more, joining the community, by all means, those are the two quickest ways to reach us and get involved. So what we're talking about today, I have a list. We're going to do a quick little definition of terms to kind of explain what we do. We're going to talk about sign language itself. We're going to talk about mutism. And then we're going to transition into how and where to learn sign language on your own and with our wonderful teachers. Talk a little bit about what our wonderful teachers do and how they do it. And then we're going to actually give a quick little sign lesson. Our terms that we're going to be talking about here. The first one I think is the most important, so it's going right there at the top, and that is spectrum. Because everything we talk about today is somewhere on a spectrum. Just like everything in life, sign language is not binary. There is no, it is this or that. It is a fluid thing. There is all sorts of different avenues. There's different accents, different regional accents, different ways people perceive things or express things. So everything here is not a end all be all. It is everything is on some sort of spectrum here. So wanted to make sure that is our disclaimer put out right at the front because of how important that is. Our next two terms we have is talking about deaf. The word deaf, whether it is with a capital D or lowercase d, because whenever we talk about people who are medically deaf, people who just have the inability to hear, that is where we're going to use the lowercase d. That is a medical term, and that just means the inability to hear. Whenever we have a capital D, deaf, that is an identity. That is a culture. That is a group of people who identify themselves as deaf, as part of the deaf community. A inability to hear, the use of sign language, all of that is involved in that identity. And then under that umbrella, we also have people who identify as deaf or people who identify as hard of hearing. The general rule of thumb is that people who are deaf are fully dependent on sign language and do not hear, basically all. And again, are fully dependent on visual language, aka sign language. People who identify themselves as hard of hearing typically have some sort of hearing loss and use some sort of technology, amplification technology, like hearing aids or cochlear implants, to use that residual hearing and use a spoken language still. Again, back to this being on a spectrum, this is not an end-all be-all description. There are people who are on that spectrum and say, I am hard of hearing and deaf. Some people say it's really what they choose to identify themselves as. It is their label to use as they wish. Going in with that, we have culture, which I have, I believe, a Webster's Dictionary definition of culture, being the shared characteristics and knowledge of a particular group of people, encompassing language, religion, cuisine, social habits, music, and arts. I don't necessarily think that cuisine is part of the deaf culture, but definitely language is a huge part of deaf culture, about the use of sign language, the use of modified English, being through cochlears, through hearing aids, any sort of difficulty with spoken English or spoken language at all. Deaf people have their own history, their own shared experiences that really kind of bonds them together as a group. They have shared arts that they do that are more visual and not auditory. There are also people who are deaf musicians, so there is deaf music as well. But anything that has to do with the deafness itself and this shared experience that all these deaf people have gone through together seems to create this wonderful deaf culture that we're here trying to tell you guys a little bit about today. And of course, one of the biggest parts of deaf culture is sign language. This is a visual language that does not have anything to do with the auditory processing. It is all visual on the hands, facial expressions, body language, anything like that to convey meaning. It is a full language with its own grammar structure, its own rules, its own dialects, all that. It is a true language that is just visual instead of spoken. We also have a quick slide in here about interpreters. So I work as an interpreter, and so does Polly Swift over here. We both work as sign language interpreters, which just means that our job is to provide a faithful rendition of the message in the other language. For example, right now I'm currently speaking English, and Polly is over here interpreting exactly what I say into American Sign Language. He is not allowed to edit the message. He is not allowed to change anything up. It is a faithful rendition from one to another. Whenever our panelists who use sign language are signing, and where I earlier just did it myself, or later we might have Polly doing it, whenever we are voicing, we are providing a direct translation of what they are saying. It is not edited, not changed. It is just from one language to the other. Another important member of the deaf community is what we call codas. There's also a whole bunch of different other letters that can be added onto this as well to make other ones, but coda is child of deaf adult, and that is a hearing person who grew up in a deaf household. It is child of deaf adult, so one or both of their parents are culturally and fluently deaf, which means their first language, their first home culture is the deaf culture, is sign language. Both codas and interpreters are typically hearing. With interpreters, you can have deaf interpreters, hard of hearing interpreters as well. But these are two important roles in the deaf community that are not actually deaf themselves, but are hearing people who are involved in the deaf community. All right, getting into some of the bigger picture things. So we get the question all the time, sign language is universal, right? No, not at all. And there's definitely more than one sign language. It is a common misconception that says, oh, you know sign language, you can go anywhere in the world and talk to somebody else who knows sign language, you'll be fine. Not at all. Sign language is different all over the world. It's just like spoken languages. We have different languages that have developed on their own onto different dialects, different family groups, all that kind of stuff, and are completely distinct from each other. Here in Helping Hands, we actually offer classes in 6 different sign languages. We have American Sign Language, which we'll be teaching today. We have British Sign Language, which we will also be teaching today. But we also offer classes in French Sign Language, Korean Sign Language, Japanese Sign Language, and German Sign Language. However, we have a little caveat. We cannot do IRL sign language accurately and authentically here in VRChat. VR technology has not caught up yet enough to be able to do a fully one-to-one rendition of real-life sign language. So we have kind of developed our own dialect of sign language to be a VR ASL, a VR BSL, which we'll kind of talk about that here in a second. So this slide, unfortunately, we had a little mix-up on this slide, so it's a bit askance, but we're going to have Bork come up and talk real quick about some of the adaptations that we have made from real-life sign language to VR sign language using both index controllers and general VR controllers. So, Bork, if you'd like to come talk about that real quick.
All right. What's hidden behind the pictures or gestures is most common adapted IRL hand shapes. The X hand or X gesture we most commonly just changed to this to represent bending of the index finger. Be bent to the right of it. We most commonly represent it as just fist because it mostly fits to it. O flat, the third picture, we also just represent it as a closed fist. And for 8 flat, the last picture, we show we point to the middle finger and thumb, representing to connect the fingers together. It is mostly just what visually represents the IRL counterpart. Like for index to thumb is F hand. Rock and roll is Y. And I'm trying to figure out. B, we most commonly just do open palm with an index finger below it. And I believe that is all.
All right, thank you.
Next, we go to Avenue.
Oh, no, Zaz. So Zaz is going to talk a little bit about comparing ASL to BSL. All right, hello again. So America and the UK both speak English, but the sign languages are completely different. They are not related. ASL developed from French Sign Language, but BSL developed in a different language family. BSL developed with Australian and New Zealand Sign Languages. ASL and BSL are different, so we have some different obvious differences, like for one is the spelling. ASL typically has a one-handed spelling, while BSL uses two hands. Also, many signs for the same word are completely different. There are a few signs that are the same. Signs that are the same typically are ones that are gestural. For example, hello, or pointing to someone. Also driving for a car, eating, again, all very visual signs. But sometimes it is very different. Later in our lesson, we'll be able to show some examples of ASL and BSL, and you'll be able to see the different signs and you can compare them. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Another question we constantly get asked is this where all the mutes hang out? We have been asked on behalf of the community who have mutism to help raise awareness about this. So mute as a label is really needing to be reserved for people who have mutism, which is a actual diagnosable condition, whether it is physical, psychological, anything like that. It needs to be actually medically diagnosed to be labeling yourselves as mute. However, we have tons of people who do not want to use their voice in game for various reasons, and 100%, we're on board with that. We've just been asked to help raise awareness about not using the term mute to describe that. Instead, one that has been offered up is non-vocal by choice. There's multiple other options that people can use. I don't use my voice in game. No mic. Anything that just describes you as a person, as what you do. But trying to use the actual label mute, we've been asked to, again, raise awareness to try and keep that for just the people who are actually medically diagnosed as mute. However, again, if you're someone who doesn't use your voice in game and you want to learn sign language so you can communicate with others who you play in VR, by all means, come on down. We'll teach you sign language. We'll get you where you're able to learn to communicate, get some more interactions with the deaf community to learn more sign language, all that. So, if you're out in the world and you see somebody signing, what are you supposed to do? Well, say hi. They're not the plague. You can talk to them. And if you don't know how to sign, you can learn. And that's what we're here for. That's what Helping Hands does, is we teach sign language. So, if you want to learn sign language, you have multiple different options about how and where you want to learn it. So, if you want to learn on your own, we have these worlds that we like to offer out. We have the experimental ASL world, and then Mr. Dummy's Sign and Fun. Both of these worlds have a video board with vocabulary lessons that you can learn and kind of go at your own pace. I know, I'm not 100% sure if Mr. Dummies has, but I know the experimental world has a shader motion avatar that you can see a 3D model of how these signs are shown. So if you want to do some self-learning, something at your own pace, by all means, these two worlds are an amazing place to go. But we're Helping Hands, and we teach sign language. That's what we do. We try and build an inclusive sign language community. So we have lessons taught by volunteer teachers. We post in our Discord in the schedule channel, so you can find all of the different classes, which language you want to do, what time works for you, all that kind of stuff. Whenever that class is about to start, the teacher is going to post out a link in the Discord that you'll be able to follow and join in that way. If you want to go back and look at previous classes, we also have a class archives channel where we have a whole bunch of different lessons that have already been done that are recorded by our resident archivists and then get uploaded to our YouTube channels. So you can go through, scroll through, find a lesson you like, or try and find a specific lesson you're looking for and hop on that and just watch the class. Most of our lessons follow a specific lesson on the lesson board or a specific theme. We have some predetermined quick vocabulary lessons, or we have teachers come up with a specific theme of the week that they're deciding we want to teach this and is going to teach a vocabulary lesson all to do with that, which is kind of what we're doing here today. We're going to have a basic sign lesson, but also with things that are relevant to virality somna. One of our requirements for our teachers is that they are fluent in whatever language they are teaching, so they are an expert on the language, and they're here to help you guys learn those languages. If you guys want to come join our classes, we have a couple rules for our classes. So, you have to be in the Discord, so you can accept the rules in Discord. The classes are going to be invite only, so please do not share the link out. We want to make sure everybody is held accountable to the rules that we've set, so we need you to be in the Discord to join the class. To reduce lag on anybody's PCs or quests, make sure you use optimized avatars. And then we have our mics off during class, unless you're asking a question. One of the most common things that gets touted in those kind of classes when we talk about your mic off is if you decide to open up a little bag of chips or take a drink, everybody in the classroom can hear you because everybody else is dead quiet. So just mics off during class. And then try not to block line of sight to the teacher. Again, this is sign language. It is all a visual language, so you need to be able to see the person doing the teaching. And then, of course, golden rule, be respectful of everybody. We also will track attendance of who is going to classes on a regular basis. And then once staff member has seen you've been around for enough times, you'll get a VRC role in the Discord to show that you've been coming to our classes enough that you are somebody who's been around and can be kind of a helper to our newer members and somebody they can look up to. Which, speaking of which, that's kind of how some of our student helpers up here started out as VRC signers, and now they are our community guides. So they have an official role in our community to help those newbies out. So any of you newbies out there who want to come learn sign language, these are the people you talk to. Merc, Bork, and Zaz. They're going to be able to help you get started in this. A little bit more about our teachers themselves. So we have high standards for our teachers. We do not have any sort of licensure certification board because we are a VR sign language group in VR. And at the end of the day, we're all inside of a video game. So we don't have a governing board to control any of this stuff, but we as the community really highly vet our teachers. We make sure that they are fluent in whatever language they are teaching, that they are culturally competent, that they have good communication skills, and that they are professional. These are the kinds of teachers that we look for to help us provide wonderful lessons for our amazing students. And with that, we are going to have a lesson from two of our wonderful teachers. So we are going to have Avenue over here, who is going to be showing the BSL version of everything. So BSL index user is what you're going to see from Avi. We are also going to have Bork right next to him showing the general VR version, and you'll be able to see that some of the signs are slightly different because of the index versus general VR controllers. So we'll have Bork showing general VR BSL, and then we'll have Zaz as well kind of showing a side profile view. So you'll be able to see multiple angles of all the BSL stuff. On this side, we're going to have Zaid, who is going to be teaching ASL with index. And then we're going to have Merc showing the general VR versions of those signs. So we're going to see how some of the signs are going to be the exact same, and some of the signs are going to be completely different. And again, if you are wanting to learn ASL, stick to watching Zaid and Merc. And if you're wanting to learn BSL, British Sign Language, watch Avenue, Bork, and Zaz. All right. Take it away. All right. This is how you sign hello. Good morning. Two different signs together, good and morning. This is good evening. Again, two different signs, good and evening or night. The sign for how are you, which is the sign how, and then you point to who you're talking to. In BSL, it is just one sign. Have you showing that motion? Okay. Sign for good. The sign for bad. These are your answers for if somebody says, "How are you?" The sign for sleepy. Then if you want to tell somebody you like their avatar, the sign "I like your avatar." The sign for dreams or dreaming. Sleep well is the sign for sleep, and then you actually spell out the word well. Then BSL has a sign for it. The sign for bed. The sign for PJs, pajamas, or sleepwear. All right, and that's our quick lesson. All right, so that was our super quick lesson that we had for you guys. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm signing. I have an interpreter for that. That was our super quick lesson that we had for you guys. There is also a Q&A channel posted in the Furry-related Discord, which we'll currently look on that because we've got time left. So if anybody has any specific questions, put them in there and we can answer some of them. I know we already have one question that says, why are some signs subject to so many variations? So that is going back to the fact that it is a language in and of itself. It develops with its own accents. It develops with its own dialects. and just part of, unfortunately, the treatment of deaf people in the history of at least the Americas, have had a lot of isolation and language deprivation. So signs develop very separately from each other and then grow in their local areas. And then now the internet, with the more connected world that we have, we get to find out that there are signs that are wildly different, all for the exact same thing. Zach Gregory asked if we have any recommendations for avatars that are easier to understand sign language in. I know, especially since we're here with the furries, the otters that only have 3 fingers, those kind of make it problematic. But I know somebody has made a modification to those where it adds artificial pinky, and that definitely helps. However, if you're looking for a sign language avatar, there are tons of sign language avatars out there. We have some that we've made in-house, who have been made by, for example, we have Bork, who's made some furry VR avatars. We have Zaid, who's made some furry VR avatars. And they are specifically made with the hand shape in mind to do sign language. Multiple people have asked, how do you sign furry? So I'll let our teacher show that real quick. All right, we'll let our teachers come up and show that sign real quick. So, oh, sorry, miscommunication. Trying to show the sign for furry. So the sign for furry is with this F hand on your arm, and you're kind of showing fur. And then Abby showing the BSL version of it. All right. I guess you could show the furality sign too. So the way you sign furality is with F hands. You start in front of your face and go out to the side like you're making a VR headset. Ghost and sorry, am I not even on screen? Here, I'll have Polly interpret this for me. So Ghost, and I know other people have used it, have asked, I think on the Twitch stream, are your hands interchangeable or does it matter which hand you're signing with? You do not need to pick one or the other, really. It's whatever one you are comfortable with. And that is your dominant hand, and then your other one is your support hand. The dominant hand is the one that's typically doing the motion. Whichever one you feel more comfortable with, pick it and set it. Don't switch back and forth. If you are left-handed, typically you'll be a left-handed signer. If you're right-handed, you'll be a right-handed signer. It's just more important you don't go back and forth. A couple of people, Utterly Dead, ask, can you show I like your avatar again? Can you show that sign again, please? I like your avatar. All right, we'll get that up on the screen again real quick. So, I like your avatar. We're going to show that again. So Zaid's currently showing the ASL version. I like your avatar. I like your avatar. All right. And then Avi's showing the BSL version, where I like your avatar. I like your avatar. Blazeria, I believe I'm saying that right. Blazeria asked, how do you develop your sign name? Is that something you personally develop, or is it something your friends use? So, Zay, do you want to talk about sign names? All right, and this is Zaid saying, so yeah, this is my sign name. So this is a Z. I'm a furry avatar. I've got whiskers here. So my sign name is a Z on the chin to show these whiskers. It is something that's about my avatar. So how you get a sign name is from a deaf person. A deaf person will give you a sign name that is based on your personality, typically, or some sort of defining characteristics. But it must be given by a deaf person. It is a deaf culture thing. A deaf person will give you your sign name. Inuzaku asked, how do you find your group? Can you show the beginning banner? It's like slide 2. Oh. Well, that works. So yeah, to find us, this is our link, discord.gg/helpinghands. So that's our Discord. You can get in there, get through verification, post your intro, get approved, all that stuff, and get in where we can start teaching you guys sign language. Orange asked, I've seen prefabs that let you use more hand shapes in VR. Are there any specific ones you recommend that come to mind? Bork, can you answer that? Because I know you have the special hands that can do the other things.
Yes. What I'm using is a prefab called VRC Thumb Parameters OSC. It basically allows you to use the A, B, and thumb sticks as their own independent button, which allows you to do multiple gestures all at once. Thumb Params OSC is made by i5UCC. They also had the gestures that come along with this, and an installer that will automatically install it onto your avatar, which should also work for Quest, but I'm not sure if it's standalone or it's just on both platforms it works.
Thank you. Oberon asked for the sign for Sona. All right, so Zay and Navi are going to show that. So for ASL, it is furry personality or furry persona, where you can also assign furry and then do this motion, which means taking on a character. Then Avi is showing the BSL version. Somebody asked, there are recorded classes for learning VR ASL. I don't have reliable time and I'm available to like try and learn from Whimsy. Yes. So we have in our Discord channel, there is the class archives where you can look on there, and we have our archivists who record classes when they're able to and upload them to YouTube. We have multiple archivists, and they have them on their own specific archive YouTube channels. But yeah, if you are looking for a specific lesson or just kind of trying to learn how to start off, by all means, check out the class archives channel. Dat Shiny Turtwig asked, are there any technical requirements for the classes? For example, hand tracking, or you can join without them first? So with our classes, we are a VR, I keep signing and I have an interpreter here. We are a VR sign language community. So we teach in VR, we teach with the VR controllers. Again, we have people up here who just showed that you can sign with both Index or with general VR. I know some people who have tried using the hand tracking from Quest with interesting success rates. But yeah, we teach with the actual controllers, both with general VR controllers and Index controllers. Gore Mutt asked, how do I encourage friends to learn with me so I'm not alone? Are my hearing friends allowed to come? Yes. Yes. More the merrier. Have them join the Discord link as well. Again, we have our accountability process of making sure everybody reads and agrees to the rules that we have for our classes. And then, yeah, the more people who know sign, the better. Zach Gregory asked a funny question, in my opinion. It says, do you sometimes use VR sign language in person instead of actual ASL or BSL? I know for myself, I have used VR sign language in real life before on accident. Have you done that before? Yep, pretty much all of us. All of us have made that mistake before. You use enough sign language in VR and it will bleed into your real life signs. Especially if you start talking about VR in real life and you're signing, you'll start using VR sign language on accident. Sleepy Furry asked, how do you ask somebody if they sign in ASL? So we'll show both ASL and BSL, but can you show the sign for, do you know sign language? So you're going to point and point at them, say you, then the sign no, and then this means sign language. And then Avi's doing the same thing in BSL. So do you know sign language? All right, we're coming up on the end of our panel. Let's find one or two more good questions. Ooh. I'm going to butcher this name. Daiumada? Daiumada. Asked, I know ASL is very reliant on facial expression and eyebrows. What do you recommend in VR as a substitute for the lack of eyebrow for those without face tracking? Do you want to explain about how we use... So, Zaid's saying that's a good question. So it's really hard to give that direct communication here in VR because not everybody has facial tracking. Those expressions are not there. So instead, we use body language to convey those expressions as best we can. For example, if you're asking a question, instead of doing the eyebrows that you would do in IRL, you kind of just tilt your head. You kind of really over-emote whenever you're signing. For like example, if you're sad, you're really going to show that in your body language. That is kind of how we show those specific emotions that we can't do using the VR limitations. Like when we're shocked, it has a very expressive body language component to it. If you have the eye tracking and the face tracking, obviously you're at a bit of an advantage there and can get a bit closer. But unfortunately, there is no direct substitute for that. All right. Last question we will answer here live, and then we will continue to monitor the Discord channel, and we'll try and answer some more stuff there through text. But the last question we'll answer here live. Somebody said, where can we learn IRL signing? You have suggestions about where people can go to learn real life sign language? So Zaid's saying, for learning real life sign language, try and check your local area, try and find your local sign language family around. See if there's any college classes around. If you're lucky and live in a place that has a deaf residential school, there is sure to be a sign language community around, out and about, that you can try and find and connect with. But check online in your local area, see if you can find, see if you can friend some people on social media that might be able to help you. But just look into your local community. All right. I think time is up for us. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and close this out. So thank you guys again. Thank you all of your audience for coming here and learning some sign language with us and learning about Helping Hands. Thank you to our wonderful panelists, our staff members from Helping Hands who came out and helped us learn some sign language and learn about deaf culture. Thank you to our interpreter for interpreting everything for us. And again, we will be continuing to monitor the Furry Q&A question, try and get some more answers in there for you guys. And other than that, I hope you guys have an amazing Furry Samna.